Good afternoon, it's Lee Cassidy from Tactile Technology, and it's our regularly daily session at 12:30 to 12:45, which we call SMESec. So SME as in small and medium enterprise, and sec as in security. So it's security delivered in plain English, not Klingon. So let's kick off today. So we're talking about the Mitre Att&ck framework at the moment because it's good to understand how the attackers attack you and the process and stages they follow. So yesterday we talked about Reconnaissance, where they're going to find out about you, your users, the infrastructure you've got, your network, your hosts, get a good picture of what you've got in place so that they've got a good understanding of how they can attack you. And also if they're going to go via a third party, because a lot of attacks we've seen recently are actually via a third party. So what's happening is they're actually attacking one particular organization to get via them into their actual victim. So their target is not the initial attack, it's actually to get via that organization to the second one. So let me bring up my slides, and we're talking about now stage two. This is where they're going to build out their resources to be able to attack you. So there's a number of things that they're going to look for. So first of all, they're looking to acquire some infrastructure. This infrastructure they could actually do in a number of different ways. So what they could do is actually go and rent some infrastructure. So, get some physical infrastructure or get some cloud-based infrastructure from one of the cloud providers, like we would actually take on infrastructure for a regular business. So quite quickly they could actually get some infrastructure in place. They could also use a compromise to get hold of accounts that have got access to some specific services they want to use. So, they're not looking to just compromise your business, but they're also looking to compromise accounts in a secondary business to be able to use the services that business has to be actually resources to attack your business. Also, they're going to look at compromising infrastructure. So again, because they've already attacked a number of people, or they actually work with another organization, another hacker organization, to actually take some infrastructure and utilize that against their intended target. So this could be a botnets that have been set up by compromising, hundreds, if not thousands of machines, or it could be a set of infrastructure that's been configured and set up in another country. But the key thing about this is making sure that it's not traceable back to them. So however they do it, whether they acquire it through normal means, where they compromise accounts or infrastructure, what they're trying to do is make sure that it can't be traced back to them easily, because they don't want to be caught. And that's one of the critical things about this. The next thing, they're going to develop their capabilities. And in some cases, they're going to do it like a traditional business. So they're going to set out what they're trying to achieve, whether it's a piece of malware or a compromise against a particular application or operating system. And they're actually going to start developing it like you would develop a traditional software product. So they'll actually go down the route of coming up with, their requirements for the actual piece of software. They'll actually then sketch out how they're going to develop that. They'll allocate resources, and they'll go through the process of development and test like any other organization would do, developing the software that they would deploy part of their business. But this time it's actually, for a hacker organization. So developing some kind of malware, some way of manipulating some kind of vulnerability with an operating system or an application to be able to do what they want with it. So they'll go through that development phase and get ready to deploy it. They'll also look to establish accounts. So what they're trying to do a lot of times, especially with phishing and many other things, is to look like real people. So what they're going to do is establish accounts. They're going to set them up against social media accounts, against email, specific domains, and they're going to create a history behind it. So they're going to make it look like they're real people, but in a lot of times they're going to be either fake or they're going to imitate real people. So they're going to try and pretend they're someone else. So look around there, and someone that might be, someone that you would actually believe in within your industry, because you're the actual intended victim. So looking for someone that you'd feel comfortable responding to, or even someone that you currently already are engaged with in some type of communication. So they're going to establish these accounts. They're going to make them look credible in the way they build them out. They're going to then attach those accounts to a variety of different social and other platforms to be able to get there, including things like software development and software deployment platforms as well. So it's not just going to be social media, it's going to be a variety of other platforms that are going to actually establish these accounts against, to make them look as real as possible, again, because they're trying to convince you they're real when they utilize them in their phishing attacks or any of the social engineering type work that they're going to do in the future. So establishing and making it look real is really important. Then what they're going to do is obtain capabilities. So these capabilities could be, taking a botnet and renting that botnet from an existing organization. They also could be buying something real, some server infrastructure and things start to put in place, but getting the capabilities to be able to, carry out the attack, whether that's a denial of service attack, whether that's some kind of ransomware attack, whatever the actual attack is going to be, they're going to obtain the capabilities to do that, because they don't have to always develop the capabilities. In some cases, they can buy it. And also, there are free services out there. There are free botnet service hidden on the dark web. There are free malware software workloads that can be taken and reutilized. And in some cases, these are actually being stolen from, the good guys, theoretically, some people like the NSA and a number of other organizations. As we saw a few years ago, one of the attacks that came out, it was actually something that was developed by the NSA to be able to utilize against other nations and other organizations. And that was then redeployed, against businesses in the UK, and it affected a lot of health companies and also hospitals in the UK. So once they've established, those accounts, they've developed the capabilities or obtained the capabilities, if they're not developing it themselves, they need to stage them. So they're getting them in a position ready to use them, and it's a bit like the military. We don't attack from our barracks. We need to get our infantry, our mechanical and armored vehicles in position, ready to carry out the attack. So they need to be staged. So move to the right place and ready to deploy. And that's the same with any of these capabilities. They need to be staged. So they need to be configured specifically for the attack in mind, against a particular intended victim, whether that's a direct against a target or whether it's indirectly via a third party that they're using as effective, that soft underbelly to get in to the target organization, via a conduit of partnership that's in place already. But they're going to stage them, get them ready to go, and get everything ready so that when they're ready to deploy, they can deploy the attack ready to go. So all done. So acquiring the infrastructure, everything they need to be able to deliver this attack, compromising accounts, to gain some of that infrastructure or services they require. They're going to also develop capabilities if they haven't got something that's specific to the need that they've got at that point in time, or they're going to establish accounts and obtain credentials and capabilities from third parties. But finally, stage it, get it ready to go, so that when they're ready to deploy the attack, they can do it, with the capability of the pull together.